So we had a kind of multi-voice poem thing that we made from a common source text, which was the little passage from Jonathan Swift's Battle of the Books, where he uses the bee and the spider as a kind of political allegory. And he basically says that the spider is kind of suspect because it kind of generates its wealth from its own body, a little bit like the investors that just caused the South Sea bubble, like financial crisis in the 18th century. Whereas the bee was kind of a harmonious ideal of labour.
We added to this poem a prologue, and to create the prologue we took one of my existing poems which already used bees as a political allegory and translated it into a new version, drawing on themes pertinent to Swift's piece before bringing the original and new versions together.
Prologue.
Two bees disturbed my Sunday lion. They rang the doorbell. Up close they were surprisingly tall, with blow-dried furs and cheaply printed leaflets.
A distraction.
Their mantles were distracting. These hives swarm in late spring. If you lift the frames, you'll see cell doors, thin flaps hanging open, empty combs so dry, held to the light its pure bandage.
Finally, on prime time, these coal men enjamb, a levity to their quadrant verse, hard sell at the door, a sole bee, the vacant panel chat, music, purely vendible, held up to the light. Noticing through the veil,
news.
camps made to order by preloaded dye, sorting Wiltshire agro corn from Savile Garden breeze sold by the seed.
The returning officer climbs into his plague suit and veil. He sprayed dots on the leaders' lapels so they can be distinguished, waggling through their speeches with audience bees ranked behind as well as in front of them.
The spider puts on a tragic pledge at speed. Drops of solar dew cover the Queen's troops, sorting them into tribes, bumbling through discourse, with an ordered audience of bees, poor, indebted, in the lamp of loss.
The Battle of the Bees.
May, you are modern as the spider, in its turns and paradoxes, spins and spits, in the air spun wholly from itself, scorning to own obligation or assistance from without. Unlike the humble honeybee, Theresa May, you prey on gentlemen. The antient bee thinks fit to answer. Your schemes you may erect with method and skill, but if your materials be nothing but dirt spun out of your own entrails, the guts of modern Britain, the edifice will conclude at last in a cobweb.
My spider plant was in a yogurt pot. Green star, compact sprite. I never had a plant before or any living thing, and showered her as often as I bathed. She grew. I found a plastic pot, trowed up soil from by the gate. She was the breadth of my small and unscarred hand. Then she was as large as your hand is now, a froth of foliage, a fountain of stripes.
Free money, free markets, something from nothing, sunbeams from cucumbers, silk spinning out of itself, industrious reams of artifice and genius, a no thing, little 18th century spider. Fuck those commie bees. You shouldn't call someone a commie unless you want to start a fight.
She drank, she prospered, threw out lines with tiny spiders of her own, springy umbilicals, serving them up. I washed out detergent cups, cut off plastic bottles, saved tubs.
Infinite labour, in every corner of nature, ranging, busy all day, bringing pollen. I see bees rolling out.
I turned her so she wouldn't hanker to the window, but hold her perfect explosion. My sill, home to a line of green recruits, and still they kept on coming, leaves resting on their other selves. The mothership paled. A power cell still thrummed with morning light, her leaves less cutting. I thought her mellowed. Ranks gathered, cables looped from pot to pot, crammed with bedmates. I thought they needed soil, more substance to throw up in a leafy hail, until I saw white-bodied lice on every leaf, creeping over earth, spilling from the dark where head meets root.
Clumsy landings, tank full of nectar. During a flow capped and stored, uncapped and eaten during dearth. Gauge nectar flow, ascertain dearth. Dirt and poison, honey and wax, sweetness and light. Cheers.